Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast, 90 Day Fiance UK, Season 3, review of episodes 1 through 4. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
You know, I'm going to get to that in a second. Betty B asked, hey, where can I watch Mavs UK? That's a great question. But 90 Day Fiance UK, you can definitely watch on Max, right? And I think Discovery Plus is where it is as well, too. Because Karen's like, hey, y'all, can't watch the show, but I'm here for your review.
Watch it on Max with no commercials and Season 3. Because...
Please tell the story.
I'll tell the story.
Tara was so excited to review, on Sundays we watch 90 Day Fiance. Tara was so excited that this happened.
So I knew I had to catch up and watch the show. So after we did last night's podcast on the Never Ever Mets, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna probably knock out 2 episodes tonight. I'll go to work and I'll knock out 2 episodes when I get off work just in time to be ready for the show. So I did 2 episodes, and then around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, realized I'm doing season 1, not season 3. I had pages of notes for episodes 1 and 2 of season 1. So I had to start all over today. So it's been a jam-packed day of trying to get caught up.
The interesting thing is that had you said, man, this black girl on 90 Day UK is wild, I'd have been like, wrong season. But you figured that out before you ever had a chance to figure out what it was too, so.
Yeah, I was like, but so I've watched 6 episodes of 90 Day Fiance UK, just only 4 from season 3.
So after your 6 episodes, as messy, a little messier, or not quite as messy as 90 Day Fiance, the U.S. version?
So, not as messy yet, but here's what I'll say. The hopeless romantic in me is like rooting for all these people because, however you met, if you feel it, you want to go for it. I applaud that. And I love love. I want to see people be happy. The Just Terrell that you all know and love thinks some of these things is crazy. I'm thinking to myself, you got a good job and you meet a dude that's a bartender or entertainer, doesn't make a lot of money, and now you're giving them, all the different things I'm seeing, I'm like, why would you do any of this? Makes no sense to me.
This is why tomorrow we'll do the Random Thoughts episode and ask the question, can vacation romance work in the real world? Because that's what it is. Vacation romance. Because all of these kind of began there, right? And it kind of puts us there to really kind of, well, maybe this could work. And that's what they're thinking, right? Dorica says, hopeless romantic? Terrell?
Yeah, I am. I don't show that side on the podcast. I gotta keep that a little private, but just let y'all know, yes, I'm a romantic. I love the idea of people that can meet at another country. They don't live in the same country, but they meet somewhere, fall in love, fly thousands of miles back and forth to see each other and all of that. I think it's great. Now, and there's some successful relationships that have done it. We've seen it with the other 9 days we've done. A lot of those people are still together. Just, I couldn't do it. But
I want to say, here's the thing. You may be the hopeless romantic. You just don't believe half the stuff you see. That's all.
I'm a realist. I'm a hopeless romantic, but I'm a realist. If you live in Houston, I don't mind making that drive to Houston. But if you live in Qatar, no, this is not going to work out. Sorry.
Or some people say cutter. Hey, Pink Butterfly says, caught me off guard as well. Who knew?
I'm really just a big softie under this hard exterior.
And let's not BS. You're in Austin, somebody in Houston, you're like, I'm going to have to think hard about this.
I think you got to think hard about that with anybody. I just wouldn't be all in. But Houston's an easy 2.5-hour drive. That's no big deal. You can do that in a day. I can go up in the morning. I can be home, ready to go to work. I can work out of Houston because we have an office there. Now, I'm not trying to, pimp myself out to the single people in Houston. I'm just saying that makes sense. But Terrell living in Austin, when I went to St. Kitts, if I met somebody at St. Kitts, would I think, yeah, maybe this could work? I'd be like, no, we had a really great weekend. You are awesome, and I'm gonna be rooting for you on the sidelines.
Hey, and I'll say this: having gone around Houston over the last couple months, I will say that, yeah, it'll be like going to St. Kitts because a lot of people in Houston on the weekends are not from Houston. It's a destination place right now. So a lot of people coming from out of town, and then they hike their ass right back out. So you'd be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Layla says, I really don't get why the show is so popular. It should be called Mostly Delusional Suckers. Agree?
Again, I love love. I don't want to say they're delusional. All I can say is I wouldn't do it. But the fact that they are so all in and how they met and whatever that story is going to be, I'm cheering for them. I want them all to win. It's just some of this stuff is crazy to me.
All right. Terrell loves love. Pink Butterfly says not pimp yourself out. So we won't let you pimp yourself out. But let's get to this love that you love so much and see if we can find it in these couples first. And here's how we're going to do it. Because there are 4 episodes to cover. We're not going to go episode by episode. We're going to go couple by couple. So we're going to go each couple through the 4 episodes so we can get through this, okay? Otherwise, man, this would be a whirlwind. So let's start with the first couple that we meet, Charlotte and Johan, right? Now, Charlotte loves her convertibles. We meet her driving with her convertible down. For the 3 days that she can do it in England, I mean, that's amazing because we know England is not a warm place.
It's not too bad. I've been. It's not too bad.
Okay. What 3 days did you go?
I was there for 10, and it wasn't cold at all. I mean, it was really 80s. You know, it was really nice.
That sounds like when I came to Detroit. When I moved to Detroit, they're like, yo, because I got here in February, they're like, in the summer, it gets up to 80. I said, that's great. You know, we call 80 in the South. He said, what? I said, spring.
Yeah.
That's not summer, but okay. So she not only lives with her 2 cats, and, you know, like the fact it's not dogs, but she lets the cats eat on the table. Like their bowls are on the table with her.
No. Couldn't have that. Cats sleep in the bed, everything. No.
What'd you think of her calling Johan when she's referring to him as her toy boy?
Whatever floats her boat on that. I don't want anybody to call me their toy boy, but if that's a good term of endearment for him, run with it.
Now, they met in the DR where Johan was part of the entertainment team, and after 2 full days together, Charlotte's in love, as they give us the backstory between them. And to me, one of the things I noticed in this backstory is a red flag when Charlotte says, I want you here, and I'll take care of you. To me, that should feel like a red flag, right?
Well, not for him. For him, he sees green. Green means go. He's happy about that. But here's the crazy thing: you go on these trips to these other countries and you stay on these resorts. They are paid to flirt with you. They want you to have an amazing time. And you know, for Charlotte, she thought maybe this was just for me, and it's like, no, that's what he does every night, every day. And when you leave, that's what he's gonna do because that's how he makes his money. Yeah. So for her to be, you know, swept off her feet by that. I guess. And
it's the reason why Charlotte's mom and her friends are questioning whether it's all about money, right? And finally, Charlotte admits that she has given Johan money. Like, you know, because she's like, well, how did he get his passport? Well, yeah, I gave him the money for that. Did you give him money any other time? Well, you know, when they had the hurricane and his mom's house needed a roof, I bought the roof for him. I'm like, yeah, so she's paying for this in this sense, right?
She is, but let's be real. Passport looks like probably costs more than the roof. So it's not like roofs here.
Hey, You leave the roof alone.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's not like a roof here. To put a new roof on my house or your house, that's big money. There,
You see, I should have taken you to some of the other parts of St. Kitts so you could have seen some of those roofs. You got to see the good side. You're off the chain. Here's the interesting thing, though. She's heading back to the DR, right? And after the conversation with her mom, she's like, all right, let me go get some positive vibes from my bestie, Mariah. And Mariah also has doubts. But we also get a glimpse in this side of how Charlotte's thinking and why she's doing the things that she's doing, like buying a roof for her, Johan's mom, and why she's paying for his passport. Because she goes, he's giving up his life, which is a greater sacrifice on his part than the money I'm giving up. Agree?
it's not that I don't agree. I just don't buy it. I think it's her real motivation is what she says earlier in the episode, that all her friends started getting paired off, coupled up. Now she realizes I'm single. I'm 34. I don't look like I looked in my 20s, and I have this younger hot dude that's into me. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to hold on to this. So maybe it's a self-esteem thing, but she's trying her best to hold on to something that nobody believed would probably work.
When you say trying her best, you're absolutely right, because as she's packing to go back to the DR, she's taking sunscreen and says, and that's the only protection I'll be using.
Yeah, I know. Have a baby by me, maybe be a thousandaire. Maybe that's as far as that's gonna go with Johan, because he can't do much. But her goal is to come back knocked up and do you, if that's what's gonna work. I still think that whole thought process is crazy. Now, I don't know how much money Charlotte has. Right. Charlotte could be balling to where whether this works out or not, she'll be fine, and I hope that's the case.
She says she has multiple convertibles, right? If I heard that correctly when the show started. I think I was awake when that started. So at least there's that. Now, here's the interesting thing about this, because he picks her up at the airport as they're going back to talking about the wedding. And he set the expectation like, hey, so if your family comes, who's coming? Oh, well, probably my mom and my sister. And they know they got to pay for the resort, right? I can't cover that. She's already paying for the rest of the wedding. What is he contributing to the wedding?
Well, she says she's paying for most of the wedding.
Most as in 99.9%?
Yeah, but I think that's when I hear about paying for the wedding, I'm thinking venue and all that. To me, the parents or whoever she's bringing, they should plan to pay for their own deal anyway.
True.
So I mean, you didn't pay for my hotel when I went to your wedding.
You're damn right I didn't.
Yeah. So, and I've known you a lot longer than she's known Johan.
Touche. At least he did have the room set up nicely, because she got down there and she had to make the payment for the room. And, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I got a deal. I paid a little bit of this. And then they get in the room and he's already had it set up, prepared. There are flowers on the floor. There are pictures on the wall. And she's just, oh, my God.
It was nice. I thought that was nice. I thought it was romantic. I thought he did a good job. Because even if he doesn't have the money, but if he's putting in effort, that's how I looked at it. He couldn't pay for the room,
right?
But let me try to put in some effort. I think that was a win for him.
Okay, so ladies in the chat, effort over money, or money over effort. Which one's more important?
Keep in mind, we're talking to ladies from the U.S.
What are you trying to say?
This is in the DR chat. This is ladies in the U.S.
Well, she's not from the DR. She's from the UK.
I get it, but I'd be curious how many ladies in this chat. It's only 55 people in here. I'd be curious how many ladies in this chat would totally date an entertainer working at a resort that has no money, and you're going to do all that stuff. You'd be totally okay with it.
Failed foster dog mom. That name says everything. There's a story in there somewhere. It says effort.
Effort is great.
The Rican says effort to give me money.
Effort is great, but you can't put effort in the mail and pay your mortgage. So. Hey,
Casey Cakes, effort for sure. Montien, no way. Bree, not happening. Morjan, Effort speaks volumes. By the way, Layla is saying Charlotte's just rationalizing to justify her desperation. Where do they find these people?
I don't know, but I know Marjan, and effort does speak volumes, but I know you wouldn't date somebody that broke. So, not the Marjan I knew in college. Maybe you've changed. And you're like, you can just put in some effort. I got the rest. Maybe you've changed, but I doubt it.
Hey, Casey Cake says I can make my own money.
Okay.
You say that gets old after a while, huh?
It does. That movie, Daddy's Little Girls, is BS. No powerful woman is going to take on a dude with, 3, 4 bad kids? Mm-mm.
Okay, and you say that, but then people gave Ebony K. Williams a hard time when she said she wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned a bus.
Nothing wrong with that. I have no issue with what she said. Mm-hmm. We covered that. I have no issue with what she said. This is her standard. This is the type of people that she dates. Hey, great. But not many powerful women, like you saw in that movie, would date a dude who works as a mechanic and has 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm. True. And by the way, Pink Butterfly says, not I, said the reasonable lady, money with some effort. So not just money or effort. You want a combination. See, that's where I thought it was going to go. More money.
I think effort. Put in effort to make more money so you can actually pay for the hotel.
But maybe he paid for the rose petals that he had on the floor. But
probably found those outside. Just, hey, some other couple they left. Hey, don't vacuum those up. I need these.
Put them out there. It's gonna be good. So here's the interesting thing, because Johan is still working, right? So he goes off to work, and so Charlotte is roaming around the resort. And when it's not busy, like it didn't seem like it was at the time, a resort can be kind of a lonely place, and you get to wander. And that's what she got to do. She stopped by one of the bars. She's talking to one of the bartenders and asked him about flirting at work. And he's like, of course. I mean, you already know this. That's how you met him.
Right.
What was the sense, besides production saying, ask that man if everybody flirts? Why would she ask that question?
I think maybe she has Pretty Woman syndrome. Remember the movie Pretty Woman? I guess she figures since she's taking him off the streets and taking care of him, taking care of his house, he's going to stop doing the things that he was doing to make money. Yeah. That happened in Pretty Woman. That's not going to happen in this situation.
You think that happened in Pretty Woman. We didn't see what was on the cutting room floor. She gets upset when she tries to, and then she lets that stew, because that conversation stews, and then she's messaging Johan, who's at work, by the way, who doesn't respond right away, and she gets upset, and then all of a sudden she sees him. So, red flag on her part, right?
Very much so.
Okay. I'm just making
sure. She thought he wasn't going to show up to the airport. Then she thought he wasn't going to show up after they spent the night together, after to work. I mean, for her, she has this fear this dude's going to leave her.
Yeah. That is true. And you can see that in a lot of this with her, right? They go to see Johan's mom and family, and he says that he needs her to help more, right? And as we get to the house, we realize why, because the roof is still leaking. And then Charlotte does, I'm not sure why, but then she goes, ask your mom if she needs anything else, if she's good. And first thing mom's like, well, I'm going to need a new cooker. But go ahead, tell her the truth. And he tells her, oh, well, she's going to need to go to the hospital. And this becomes, now it's a piling on of bills, right? Is this whole guilt? I'm taking your son away, so I need to pay you a dowry?
That's what it seems like. But her heart is in the right place, but I think she's getting used, and I feel like the mom knows it. And the mom is okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, right? Really interesting. By the way, Miss Sophie says, I'm Dominican and wouldn't bring a man over here for me to take care of. Nope.
There you go.
And let's see. Dorica does ask, where and when does this show come on? All right. So before we get to the next couple, I want to make sure we point this out again. We do watch this on Max, because it is on Max, just like Never Ever Met is on Max. And they had the first 3 episodes up, and then it comes on Sunday, I believe, or it shows up on Monday.
Yeah, I believe it comes on Sundays. But if you go to Max and just do a search for 90 Day Fiance UK, you can get caught up and watch the first 4, and then that's just where you'll find it.
Yeah. Now, we're going to do these couples because, again, we're covering 4 episodes 1 through 4. We just got through with Charlotte and Johan. What?
I'm just laughing. We're covering 4 episodes 1 through 4.
Well, I have to point that out because somebody decided to start a season 1, episode 1 and 2.
True, but now I'm back, season 3.
Okay, see, when you go recruiting, it's one thing. When you do this, you reset. Sometimes you have to reset. Let everyone, those coming in late. Jesus.
Go proceed, good sir.
Do I come into your job and tell you how to?
Knock the fries out of my hand when I'm at work? No.
No, you need to let them stay in there a little longer. All right. Actually, I think I'm jumping ahead, but let's go to John and Sprite. John is a chef and fell in love with Sprite in Thailand. Apparently not from his name, unless he just really likes Coke products.
I don't date people named after beverages or Disney characters. I'm just like, why would you do that?
So no Chardonnay? No Alizé?
Nope. Nope.
No champagne?
Not at all.
Look, when I first see them, it feels very one-sided, right?
Yeah.
And first thing I noticed that Sprite never says, they're on the phone, he never says how much he loves or misses John. Mm-hmm. It's the first thing I noticed. I'm just like, okay, this is bad already.
And John is just smitten with Sprite. So he is just madly in love with this guy. And I think great, but it does feel one-sided, all but obsessed. To me, it's borderline obsessed with how much he really likes Sprite. But yeah, Sprite doesn't seem that he reciprocates that at all throughout the whole thing.
Throughout, it's funny. It's here. Just hear you say, he likes Sprite. Sprite doesn't like him. It just sounds ridiculous. I want to call him Sprite or Sprite or something else, but Jesus Christ. By the way, Tehu says, what about tequila? Would you date somebody named Tequila?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on. As you said, Sprite doesn't seem to like John at all, right? But he tells us why he wants to move to the UK. He wants to move there because of a career, right?
Right.
He wants to further his career. He feels that's a better place to do it, which it would be. And he started dating John so he can learn English better, not because he was interested in him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous. Interesting thing is that John knows they're red flags because he found some stuff in Sprite's phone, as he told his sister.
Mm-hmm. So apparently Sprite cheated.
Mm-hmm.
And so that caused a huge rift and, of course, creates some trust issues. And having a long-distance relationship like that, that's a big trust issue if you're worried about what he's doing. And if you see what Sprite's doing on his social media, he's living it up and looks like he's having a ball.
Yeah.
So that makes John nervous as well.
It should. And his sister has the best advice I've seen on 90 Day Fiance, all forms of it. When she goes, look, if you're going to constantly question when he's going out, then that's not going to be good for the relationship. And it's simple advice. This is 101, long distance 101. If you can't trust him, you might as well not even do it, right?
Right. I mean, that applies to even domestic, local.
If you got to go through his phone to find stuff, then you definitely don't need to even be there. It's also quite obvious how out of sync they are when they meet, right? Because Sprite comes to England. John is so happy to see him. Sprite, not so much. And, of course, part of it's because his luggage is not there. But then why is John mad when Sprite mentions his weight? He knows he's gained weight. He told us he gained weight. He went to the gym for 5.5 minutes and worked out and said, I know this may be a little bit too late. You think? So why are you upset that he brings up your weight? That's not how he met you.
Okay. But let's take it out of the John Sprite situation and think, heterosexual situation. Woman
Doesn't
that
change.
you haven't seen, and she's gained weight. She knows she's gained weight since she last saw the guy. But the last thing she needs is him to land in the plane and give her a hug and be like, wow, you've gained weight. Nobody wants to hear that.
But that's
So he knows he's gained the weight, but he doesn't want to hear that crap. It's like every time he takes a shower, he knows how bad he looks, but he's trying, right? But he doesn't need his partner who loves him to be like, hey, big guy.
See, and that's the problem, because you go home. Let me go home and put on some more pounds. First thing to say, oh, getting fat, huh? There is no filter. There's no filter.
It's not about a filter, but he already knew, and Sprite knows that that's an insecure subject for him.
Set the expectation. Loser guy. He's setting the expectation. Hey, you see me gain a pound?
I hope you don't gain a lot of weight.
Hey,
And I want you calling me one night, just drink, man, she tripping, called me fat. So she eating all that Houston food. That's what happens.
Hey, tell you who says they just say Asian folks do not like big. And he was not this big when he met him. So, I mean, just saying. Change. Things change. And he could have given. All right, we'll leave it alone. John has a surprise for Sprite back at the house, right? Which is very similar to what Johan did for Charlotte. Charlotte loved it.
Right.
Sprite, on the other hand?
Not so much. I mean, he didn't like the drive and where the place was at, which part of me calls BS, because he could have looked up that whole area to see what was around it, know what he's getting himself into. But then when he gets into the house,
perception of what you think.
I get it. But when he gets into the house, he's like, "This looks like a dump," and it kind of did. You know, if you're expecting your boo to come home to your place, you would think that you at least took that trash out that was sitting there, you know, and all that. But then when he gets into the room to see the shrine to Sprite on the wall with the fairy lights with all these pictures, that's a bit much. That was a bit much. Maybe 5 or 6 pictures, maybe, you know, pictures enough to form a heart or something like that, but that looked creepy.
Or is it because those pictures are a reminder of how he looked when he first met him?
So is he supposed to look at those pictures and not look down? Is
That's
that
why
what
he's like,
when they're in bed, he's supposed to just focus on the wall?
he's like, don't remind me of what you used to look like. 'Cause that's not how you look.
Because he
right
can
now.
feel it. He can still feel it. It's not going to matter. When they're cuddling, he's like, I know that's not pillows. That's you. So I don't think those pictures would have helped if I don't think that was the purpose of it. But to me, that had I got to put the lotion on the skin vibe from looking at that little shrine.
Speaking of cuddling, the next morning they're laid in bed and Sprite looked like a hostage. I'm just like, what the hell?
That wasn't a hug. That's a headlock.
It looked weird. But we also get some more of these cultural differences, right? Because so John wants to take Sprite to enjoy the nightlife, which is going to the pubs and playing beer pong, right? And I'm with Sprite. Don't throw that dirty ping pong ball in my drink and then tell me I have to drink it.
I don't. If I'm at some friends that are doing beer pong, I'm like, how do y'all play? And they're like, you put the beer in a cup. I'm out. I'm like, no, I'm good. If you have water cups and you do that, and then you got to drink your beer,
Yes.
I will play that all day long. But I am not about to take that dirty ball from the bar where everybody's walking.
Yeah.
No.
Falls on the ground. He's like, it's okay. The alcohol will clean it. No, it won't.
Yeah. No, it won't. But also, I agree with Sprite. Like, I don't mind going drinking, but I'm not going to be like, hey, Yanni, me and you, let's go bar hopping and be the only 2 people in every bar we go to.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fun.
No, at all. Like, because he says when he goes out, it's a whole bunch of friends, right? But then finally, John did find something he liked because they went surfing, got some surfing lessons. Sprite's having fun because he can stay up, he can balance on the board. Unfortunately, John couldn't, but, you know, at least he was having fun.
Right. It was something that he liked instead of taking him to do something that John likes. And I agree with Sprite. You know, that why would you have me come out here to do things that you like to do?
Right.
And that's not my thing. So looked like he had a good time. After that, they go to a place, have a nice dinner. That was a great date.
Yeah. See, so that was at least they've had a good day.
Right.
Then John decides he wants to practice his baking because, again, and I almost forgot that in episode 1 they said he was a chef. And then I saw the cake and went, well, maybe not. Chef may
People
be a
throw that
stretch.
title around a lot. Just because you went to the Culinary Institute and graduated doesn't quite make you a chef. But
It's like entrepreneur.
right.
Well, Sprite decides to add some pressure because Sprite is a worker, right? And he knows how to work under pressure. So he decides to add some pressure to John, and John can't handle it at all. And it's all about John trying out for this job. Sprite wants to get the job because it will benefit him, which is something that that Marjan had pointed out to, that Sprite said he hopes John gets the bakery job, but there's a reason for it. So he can be taken care of.
Right. So he got more money to take care of Sprite. So selfish reasons, he's cheering him on. But I do like the fact that he was trying to throw him off his game, because those that have never worked in a restaurant or worked in a kitchen, it's not nice back there when it's busy. And you will get cussed out. And you got to be okay with that and keep going.
So Hell's Kitchen is actually real, is what you're saying.
It's a lot like that. Yeah. Now, those type of I'm not talking, every restaurant's not that way, but yeah. Most chefs, especially executive chefs, they will tear you a new one.
So then what happened that night? I was in IHOP about 2:30 in the morning, and the cook walked out. I ain't taking this no more. Threw his apron down and walked out the door. Was that maybe something like that?
Got his feelings hurt.
It was John.
Yeah. They kept telling him, you keep burning the hash browns. You keep doing this, we're going to put you on dishes. And he got mad. Probably walked out.
Well, interesting thing is that John doesn't get the job. He's nervous to tell Sprite. And he goes home, he tells Sprite, and Sprite takes it pretty well, right?
He does. He was really nice about it. Say, hey, look, for you to be successful, you're going to have to fail sometimes. And that's really good advice. That's the truth. So I was expecting him to have a bit of an attitude, and he was nice. Now, maybe he was nice in what he said, then he got revenge by cooking him dinner.
That dinner was terrible. That was terrible.
Let me throw this dirty spinach in here. Just no chef. Just throw this stuff in and just mix it up. Don't even drain it. All that juice in the plate. It was gross.
Yeah, it was terrible. Well, that's not his forte. That's not what he does, right? So, but we'll see more from them, because the last thing we hear from them is when Sprite's like, hey, one of the things I noticed, you like to wear shoes in the house. In my house, we don't do that. And John's like, well, it's my house too. I'm like, difference in culture again. Cultural differences. It's going to be interesting.
That's choices, because your culture. In St. Kitts, do people not wear shoes in the house?
No, not always.
So it's not quite cultural. It just depends on the person.
I'm talking about them culturally.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Jamie and Kathleen. Jamie lives with his mother and has the freedom of an adult, the responsibility of a kid. There's a theme here. A lot of people are living with their mothers here, right?
Pretty common in some of these other countries or cultures. I just thought that was weird. These are all grown adults, but living with their parents, or their parents live with them.
Now, I will say that's also cultural, because but it's now when you say cultural, it doesn't mean that everybody in the culture does the same thing. Okay, let me just make sure we define that for you, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I just thought everybody in St. Kitts, hated dogs, liked cats, and didn't wear shoes in the house. I just thought that was a thing. So my fault.
Now, Jamie has only been in long distance relationships. Said he can't find a woman in England. He's dated Thai. He's dated Vietnamese, and now he's dating Kathleen, who is Filipino. He's got a thing for Asian women.
Well, I think he has a thing for women that want to take advantage of him. Because I get what woman in the UK would want that. I mean, if you look at his lifestyle and all that, what women would want that? And I was wondering, how is he making all this money? And I'm like, oh yeah, he doesn't pay bills.
There's that.
Because he's staying in Mom and M's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toy,
I agree.
Jamie's on the spectrum.
I think so. He's on there somewhere. He's different.
Well, here's the thing. Surprisingly, we find out later on that Jamie cheated on Kathleen with her friend.
Now, technically, he didn't cheat. They were on the outs and then broke up, and then he slept with a friend. But he had started having conversations with her before they broke up. So
That's
it's a
where
little
Kathleen considers it cheating. Yeah.
gray line, a little gray area there for him to be cheating. But I'm
Mr.
thinking
I Love Love, is that cheating or not?
he didn't do anything until they broke up. So I say no, because they're just talking. Just like he talks probably to a lot of people in other countries because he can't find anybody in the UK. So he's just talking. Nothing wrong with that. But why her friend? Out of all the other
That's the part.
women that he could have went after, you don't go after your ex's friend. I would never date my ex's friends, and I'd assume vice versa.
I'm trying to understand why she's mad at him for cheating, but not mad at him for cheating with her friend.
I don't know. Well, maybe they were hustling together. It's like she's probably mad. Hey, you took money out of my pocket. That's why. I'm not mad that you slept with him. Go ahead. I don't have to do it. But you took money out of my pocket. That's the problem.
Now, the thing about these two, Jamie and Kathleen, they met in Cyprus where Kathleen works, and they met through Kathleen's friend Zena, who's also married to an English guy, right? Who was setting these expectations for her because Zena's husband gives her a monthly allowance, right? And that's the thing for Kathleen. Like, I've got to take care of my family. Like, she doesn't live in the Philippines. She lives in Cyprus because she gets paid better in Cyprus. And therefore, she can send money home. Like she said, I'll make $300. I'll send $200 back. I keep $100, so that the family's taken care of, right? Jamie, her expectation of Jamie is for him to do the same thing, to give her money so she can take care of the family at home, which is the same thing like Zena was kind of saying that was happening with her. And Jamie's like, yeah, my mom says, and she's like, be a man, not a baby.
Hey, so about the money, I talked to my mom. It's a no-go.
He has sent money, and the mom's not happy about it, right?
Yeah.
And also, neither is his friend, because his friend Richard, no fan of Kathleen. I love the line that he said, you don't drink poison just because you're thirsty. Just because she wants you don't mean you have to date her. So,
Yeah. I really think that Kathleen's goal is not have to work anymore. And have him just take care of her.
right.
And it's not about love and all that, but that's just what she wants. And Jamie, to me, seems gullible enough to do it.
Tahir says Jamie got to pay to play.
Gotta get something out the deal.
Now, here's the thing. He's back in Cyprus. Kathleen is working, so she can't meet him. He
Right.
goes to meet her, and she can't even meet him at the car.
No, she just stands there. I was thinking that, I'm like, in my mind, I'm saying, Jamie, you're about to get jumped. Like, this is a setup. There are people in the bushes about to take you out. You might want to be careful. I would have rolled all the way up to her,
Yeah.
at least. But she's just being super awkward and weird. And even once she decides, yeah, let's get in the car, she still made him pull up another 10 feet. To get her into the car. I'm like, you are not that much of a princess at all for me to do that with you.
Well, he did say he wanted to be more romantic, so this is part of his trading, right? They go to dinner at her quote-unquote favorite restaurant. And he's doing a terrible job of trying to be being romantic at this dinner date.
He's checking his phone, checking his bank account, wondering what can he do next? What can he afford to do next? But I don't like the fact that she doesn't like that restaurant, but he thinks she does, and she doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
They're both, well, she doesn't want to mess up her payday, and he's just trying to do the least possible, right? Because when she asks him if they're going to have to go live with his mother if she moves to the UK, he's like, yeah, then it would be cool because you and mom can fight over doing things to me. Like one of you can massage my back, the other one can wash my clothes. And, it's like having two wives.
Yeah, that's silly that he thinks that. But she doesn't want to live with. And the way she tried to spin it is that in my culture, the women take care of the house and that's not what you want. You don't want his mom around. Let's just call that what it is. You don't want his
because
mom
mama's
around.
trying to stop the money from flowing.
Right.
And because she tries to set this up, the whole thing, well, the man usually gives the woman the paycheck.
No, they don't.
You don't know that. By the way,
I know I've worked with a lot of people in the Philippines. They're not giving their money to the person staying at home.
Layla says, in Italy, Italian men making six figures or more routinely stay at home with their mothers. So the fact that Jamie stays at home shouldn't really be weird, right? I mean, he's not Italian, but still.
Okay, but she said six figures.
But
Jamie,
basically, what she's saying is it doesn't matter how much they're making staying
I
at
get
home.
it. I get it. Different cultures do different things. I totally get it. But as an American, I can't wrap my mind around that.
Apparently. Next couple of, because we got two more to get through, is Nicole and Tahir, right?
Yep.
Now, Nicole lives with her family and 3 dogs. And I want to know, how the hell do you not have your own place, but you still have 3 damn dogs? Why does that make sense?
Parents allow it. Cultures. No, they would do that here in the United States too. So
How she met Tahir is a story all in itself.
that blew my mind. So she goes to Egypt on holiday with her fiance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to this restaurant, and this waiter comes up that's caught her eye. And then as they're, of course, them having dinner, she says, "Can I have dessert?" And this dude looks at her in front of her fiance. "I am dessert." I was like, that's bold, because I couldn't imagine. I'd be like, "Hey, excuse me? What did you say?" So then they come back from holiday, and of course, then they were probably already on the outs, is what she said.
Right, of course.
They break up. She finds the waiter on social media, which, how do you do that?
Because she had a social before she left, yeah.
Right. Because you just didn't come back and start searching. Tahir, Egypt. Oh, there's one.
The only one that works at this restaurant we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of wild and very bold. And yes, Sanans fans, obviously she fell for that ish. She fell, and she fell hard. Here's how bad she fell, man. They have, culturally, they are so far apart, right? In the way they were brought up and everything else. Like, she's Christian, Tahir is Muslim, right? And as he's telling his brothers, like, look, well, he tells us, Islam is beautiful. He loves it. And the minute she learns more about Islam, she's going to want to convert. Then he also says he wants to have 3 or 4 kids with her, and that his kids will be Muslim, and he expects that she'll become one too. So
It's a lot of expectation.
a lot of expectation.
Yeah, a lot of expectation, especially coming from a different culture where, you're empowered as a woman to say what you want, do what you want, you can wear what you want. In that culture.
But that's also the same thing, a lot of expectation on Nicole's part to think that this man who has only lived in this country under these rules is not going to have a different, it's going to feel like, oh yeah, it's fine if you do whatever you want, right? These are things we see a lot, and we see it with the American women, especially when you have in 90 Day who go from America to Africa and have these expectations of talking to men crazy.
Right.
When, you're in another country with a different culture that doesn't allow that. What are you thinking? You can't do that, right?
Right.
Well, Nicole meets with her friend Bola, who is also married to an Egyptian man. And this is where we find out that not only is Nicole's friend Bola married to an Egyptian man, but so is Nicole, because the last time she went to Cairo, she said, "I do."
Right. So they got married already, and her friend didn't know that. But then trying to explain to her, okay, even though he's moving here, I still have to do this, and I have to do this. I still have to dress like this around him, and all that. I mean, your life's going to change. Just because he's coming to the UK doesn't mean that he's coming into your culture, so everything should be fine.
Right.
There's still going to be a lot of changes and sacrifices she's going to have to make, and I don't think she's really embraced that.
She hasn't thought about it, man. Because then she's talking with her friend Anastasia and her brother Scott, right? And she says, well, if Tahir can't get a visa, then she would have to think about moving to Egypt. And everybody was like, wait a minute, what? And then Anastasia's like, hold up. Do you understand what kind of adjustment that would be? Because you went on vacation.
Right.
Living there is going to be different. And even her brother Scott was like, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And I don't think Nicole has either.
She's in love. She's in love.
But okay, she wore some slides, and he told her, "No, you can't wear those because I don't want anybody else looking at your feet." There's a big deal in the sense of cultural difference because to her, it means nothing. I just had my feet out. What?
What if her feet look bad? And he was just like, "You're not going to embarrass me like that." Because I know you pay attention to feet. What if he sees her toes are jacked? He's like, "Yeah, no." You put on some socks and some tennis shoes. You're not about to represent my last name out in these streets.
You put on some Timbs, damn it. Or maybe her feet look good and she had red toenail polish. She's like, "No, you'll have men chasing you all around." You know, so who knows? Who knows what it was? But she even said he doesn't let her wear tights. Like, these are things that you know now.
Right.
Do you think it's going to get easier? No, it's not. But, he did get the visa. And then she goes to Egypt. She finally gets there. He greets her. They go to the hotel. There's a swan on the bed. And then she's like, "Okay, so where are the roses?" That just felt ungrateful. Like,
Well,
where's the
I
stuff
think
I've
that
seen
was
on TV?
I think that was her attempt at sarcasm.
Okay.
What I thought was really funny is how she tries to give the finger, like it's a no big deal, and he's like, "No, you can't do that here.
Right.
You know, women don't do that." She goes, "We do it all the time in the UK. Yeah, it's awesome. That's how you get a finger cut off."
Pretty much. Again, cultural differences, right?
Right.
I think where this really came to a head is when they go to dinner with some friends, right? And this is where a lot of those fears that Tahir has comes out. Because one of the things we find out is with that other couple, the man is not as strict as Tahir wants to be with Nicole.
Right.
And then we find out all his fears about leaving. Because again, he has never left Egypt before.
Right. Never been on a plane before.
Right. He's going to a whole nother country. There are a lot of jokes to be made there. We're going to leave him alone, especially going to a country like England. However, his fears are real in the sense of, what about my culture? What about my religion?
Right.
Are there any mosques there? No, but there's an Islamic center. Are there any Muslims in your town where we're going? Am I going to be the only one? It's a lot to think about. And all of this is, only problem I have with this is he's doing this in front of other people.
Yeah. And of course, it's reality TV. I'm sure they've had this conversation before. But
Yes.
I think him being able to find a mosque and find other Muslims won't be an issue. But he's not going to find the Egypt culture
Right.
there. That's the part that I think he's really going to be missing. And if they have children there, you know, it's like being in Texas, right? You got people that move here from Mexico. In their house, it might be, you know, Mexican culture. But when they go to public school with everybody else, they're learning everything.
Right.
So he probably wants them to really raise the way he was raised and all that. He's not going to be able to do that in the UK.
Right. Very true. She's excited to have him go back to England, but he even said to her, "I don't know that I'm ready to move."
Because he's never left. You know, Nicole travels all over the place. Apparently, that's how she met him. But he has never left. So I could see him being really afraid to leave.
Facey says, he'll have no problem being Muslim in the UK. Now, I don't know whether this is a statement of fact or sarcasm, because I can see it on both sides of the fence of this being sarcastic and being, well, yeah, there are a lot of Muslims in the UK.
No, I think that he'll find a lot of Muslims in the UK. That won't be an issue. Just he won't have the Egyptian culture. And that's what he feels he's going to lose. Because he said, "I don't want to lose my culture. I don't want to lose my religion." Well, there's mosques there. You're not going to lose your religion. But the culture part, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of that.
Tehu says his fears are real. She needs to understand the challenges he will face. Yes, and it's hard to understand the fears when you're part of the majority, right? It's hard to understand why. And I mean, you see why she doesn't understand. And we can sit here and go, "Come on, girl. You can understand. NYCMP says, understood he's afraid to fall apart at his moral seams. He doesn't know what temptations exist. He will need to resist. And he will need to resist. Because he did say, and the women. And she should have been like, hold up. What women? I'm the only woman you need. That's what she should have said.
Okay, but let's be realists. Every woman says that to their man. I mean,
Well,
because where he's at, women don't walk around looking certain ways. He's gonna go to the UK. He's gonna.
there's
see
going to be
people in
toes everywhere.
bikini tops, chest hanging out. There's gonna be all these commercials that have nudity in them that you don't have in Muslim countries. So,
And here's the interesting thing about this, because it's something that her brother Scott said when he mentioned the whole thing about the dressing. He's like, wait a minute. He met you in a bikini. How can he think otherwise? That's a great point. There's got to be some sort of compromise, right?
No, it's like I can change her. She's got to convert to my religion, and she won't do this anymore.
So you're saying Tahir is really a woman because women think they can change every man.
No, I'm just saying that's what he's going to convert. Get her to convert, and he don't have to have that conversation again.
Fox Liam brought up a good point that we skipped over, which is the fact that he says in his religion he can have 4 wives. And he's fine with, because when he was talking to his brother, he's like, well, you're marrying a woman that's not Egyptian. He goes, yeah, well, I can have an Egyptian wife next. Second wife could be Egyptian.
Could be. I don't know. More power to him. But I'm not, they're already married, so I can't say it's not going to work out. They're already married.
It can still not work out.
They can still end it, but it's like, well, at least they got married compared to some of these other couples.
True. And here's the thing. I wonder if they've had the conversation, because they got married pretty quickly, right? I wonder if they've had the conversation about the 4 wives, because he's told us twice.
Right.
About the 4 wives. Has he told her that she's one of 4?
I'm sure they've talked about it. And I think he's just saying that because she's not going to be down with having sister wives. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure they've had that conversation. This isn't the show airing is not the first time that she's like, what? Mm-hmm. 4 wives? I doubt it.
Would you want to have 4 wives?
No. I haven't had one yet. So let me see what that's like first. But no.
Who says Nicole needs to get her hijab ready? Because that's what's coming at the end of the day. Last couple we meet is Sam and Ali, right? And Sam lives with her ma'am. I thought the pronunciation was wild. And of course, she met him while she was on vacation.
Of course she did. This whole thing has been really weird for me because I can't date British women with an accent because my dad's wife, my dad's passed, but his wife was British from Northampton. And so anytime I talk to her on the phone, I hear that British accent. So if I meet somebody that has a British accent, I can't because it's going to remind me of my stepmom. Mm-hmm. Or I should say my dad's wife. We weren't really that close. She's a great person. But so listening to some of these people talk, I was just like, what? I couldn't do it. But Ali is he's something.
He is something. But think about this for a second. He's got to have put the charm on, right? Because she met him on vacation. He's a bartender. After she met him and he called her later that night, she spent 2 weeks sitting at his bar while he worked. Just sat at his bar, watched him make drinks, flirt with everybody else because he's paying attention to her. And that's how she spent her vacation. And of course, her mom doubts the authenticity of the relationship. And when we meet Ali, we understand exactly why.
This sounds a whole like Baby Reindeer. Did you watch that yet?
I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, this is actually set up a Baby Reindeer. So that's pretty crazy. But so she meets a bartender, hangs out, gives him his number, and he calls her like 2:00 in the morning and all that. I think he saw this is my ticket.
He saw desperation.
Yeah, he's like, this is my ticket. And he said that he's 1,000% playboy. Mm-hmm. He actually lives in the hotel, so that makes it convenient for him to target a whole lot of women. Mm-hmm. He wants to move to the UK to be a professional gamer.
They make money now. It's not play.
I get it.
I mean,
I
the
get
problem
it.
is he's not good because he was like he died in the game. Professional gamers are good. He's not. But go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get it, but he's all in this for the money. And Sam just doesn't see any of that. You know, they've spent 10 weeks total together. And she's trying to pay for the visa and left her bank card, gave him like a bank card that she puts money on for him.
Well, she had a bank account. She opened a bank account there so that she could leave him that and then transfer money to him when she did.
Exactly. Yes.
Sugar mama.
Yeah.
And to think this sugar mama's only 5 years older than him. So yeah, he's
Oh yeah. I mean, he is a party boy. He's all about trying to get to the UK. I don't think that he really likes her. Like
no,
that,
he
but
said
she can't
he's
see
thought
it.
about moving to England since he was a kid. So for a long time he's been thinking about it, and he expects to be a millionaire. He's told his friends he's going to be a millionaire when he moves to England because there's more opportunity to make money there. So he's going to be that, right? But you like something that one of her friends told her.
Yeah, her friend, because her friend apparently was in the same boat, dated somebody from another country for like 6 years and just kept giving money and all that stuff. And she wound up being heartbroken. So she was worried about Sam, asked her, do you have any concerns? And then she's like, are you sure he's just not with you just to get a visa? And so she said, hey, why don't you try doing this? Why don't you tell him, hey, look, let's not worry about the visa. I'll just move to Turkey and I'll be with you. And then see what he says. And I guarantee we know what he's going to say.
Yeah. Now you know what's going to happen. This is a train wreck waiting to happen. Four episodes in. How you feeling about it so far, though?
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. There's no, what was that one, the lady I couldn't stand? Lydia? Yeah. There's no Lydia. So it's not bad. Like I said, as I'm watching this, I have to put myself in the right state of mind to say that, hey, these are people taking a huge leap of faith because of how they feel and love and all that. I think it's beautiful. But as I said earlier, Terrell thinks it's crazy. I couldn't do it. But good for them.
You know, as I'm watching the show and realizing the similarities between all these couples, right? And pretty much most of the ones on 90 Day Fiance. I mean, some have varied a little bit in how they met, but in this one, it's been vacation. That leads us to tomorrow's Random Thoughts Live episode, where the question is, can a vacation romance work in real life? Because that's what these people are doing. They're trying to make that work in real life. Rachel says, thank you for reviewing this show. So you're welcome. You can thank Terrell because he said he would never do 90 Day Fiance again. And then after watching a couple episodes of Never Ever Met, he was like, I'll do that before I do this again. Like, well, guess what? A new one just came up. One that we've been asked to do a while, too. Toya says these people are desperate and a little slow. You agree or not?
I wouldn't call them slow, and could be desperate, but I don't know. I think it's a stretch to say they're a little slow, but there is a bit of a desperate feel.
There's a lot of desperation on this one. Layla says this was the first time I watched this show. It is worse than I assumed it would be. Is it because you said, okay, different country, they're not going to act like Angela? Because you realize that, no, they act just like Angela. The 90 Day. It's because here's what we notice. The people, and it's the U.S. one, it's the people with the low self-esteem get somebody who's attractive or somewhat attractive, and then they think it's for love, but the other person thinks, here's my ticket out of here.
Right.
Here's my ticket to wealth. The American dream. The problem is America has colonized the world through television with dreams of this is what it is in America. And that's what Sprite thought England was. When he hears England, he's thinking London. It's like when people hear New York, they think New York City. And then they end up in northern New York and like, what the hell is this? Why are there trees? Where are the buildings?
Right. Yeah, you know, I just question the authenticity of the relationships, and this is not a slight to anybody, but there's so many people within the UK that y'all couldn't find one person that liked you. Jamie couldn't find one woman in the UK. Didn't have to be British. She could be another nationality. But there's not one person
They're already
you
there.
could find that are already there.
They're already there. That's the problem. Hey, by the way, Pink Butterfly said earlier, when I went to a resort in the Caribbean, the staff said, "Here comes my retirement plan." Checking in.
Yeah.
So, is there a story you want to tell us, Pink Butterfly? Are you in one of these upcoming seasons? When we speak of this, can vacation romance work in real life? Leah says vacation romance in real life only works in Hallmark movies.
Well, we will see. We'll have to talk more about that one tomorrow. Yeah. If you got a story, send it in.
Yep, exactly. Hit us up, rgrtpod@gmail.com. If you have one, you let us know, and we'll discuss it tomorrow. All right?
And I'm sure there's at least one person that follows us that is going to be the exception to the rule. Well, actually, I went to Bali, and the massage therapist was so amazing. We just hit it off. And then, 5 years later, we're still together. Now he lives here, and he's a realtor, and it's all wonderful. I'm sure there's going to be at least one exception.
Now, remember when we did, it was set up to work, and it didn't, but it was the last 90 Day Fiance, the one with Lydia in it, and the woman from Houston, who, Dominican Republic, she even spoke Spanish, was going to set up a dealership there, obviously for vacationers, and it just didn't work out because, she was a doctor, but they had their issues, so, yeah. All right, well, look, so tomorrow we'll do that. And then, of course, we're back next week with Never Ever Mets, back with 90 Day Fiance UK, which you can catch up on Max or Discovery Plus. We'll be just doing one episode next week.
Yep. Thank goodness.
And then another Random Thoughts Live. Hey, do us a favor while you're in here, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and then make sure you hit the bell for notifications.
Yep. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I sacrificed a lot to try to watch these 3.
You sure did.
These episodes.
You try to watch all 3 seasons at once.
Yeah, I don't even want to turn my TV on after I get done with this. I don't even want to look at a screen. I can't.
You might as well finish season 1. You already started. Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on a regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.